House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, Republican from the great state of California. This is now another Biden emergency. And just first of all, how dire straits are we in as a nation with Biden policies on energy now?
There's so many places that we're in dire straits, and they're all created by one-party rule, by the Democrats controlling the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Think of what he did on the very first day, ending an American pipeline, stopping leases. He's made us dependent upon Russia, Saudi Arabia, and now Venezuela. He hates American oil-filled workers so much that he'll never turn to us. I mean, think for one moment. America could be energy independent, where the price of our gas would be lower, inflation would be lower, America would be stronger. We wouldn't be dependent on anybody else. But we are so abundant when it comes to energy that we could have other nations dependent upon us, so the world would be safer, so Russia would not be as strong. He also lowered the standing of America around the world, the disrespect that people have for us now. What do you think our allies will think of us if we go kowtowing to Venezuela, knowing the regime of what they do, of the horrendous activities that they do? Who would respect us anymore? And then to take a reserve that America has put away to help us in a time of need, to even threaten that, to weaken us to our lowest level since '84, only make us more dependent on other nations. Why would he not turn and look to America? You know, in 33 days, if Republicans are able to win the majority in the commitment to America, making an economy that is strong, one of our first lines of work is to make America energy independent. And that means you'll pay less at the pump, you'll have more money in your pocket, and inflation will come down.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, Minority Leader, as though they want Americans not to have things shipped to us because you need diesel for those big trucks. They don't want us to drive our own cars because most people can't afford a $60,000 electric vehicle right now. And I guess they don't want us to heat our homes. It's getting chilly. We're headed into winter. And the president says he has a table that he's going to consider full of options. What can Congress do right now? I know the commitment to America. People are becoming familiar with that as you and House representatives, canvass the country, telling people about what could be coming next with a red wave potentially. But there are 33 days left, and there's a lot of concern out there, and it's chilly in a lot of parts of the country, and people do have to drive to work. Your state has some of the highest gas in the country that we've seen since before the summer.
And you know why? It's these same Democratic policies that Gavin Newsom shut down production in California. He stopped 80,000 barrels a day, but you know what he did? We didn't stop using it. He turned to Putin and started buying 50,000 barrels. He changed our grid where it's even weaker. And you know what he's done now? He's increased our electricity bills by 50%. And then when it becomes warm, he tells us we can't use electricity because we're going to have a brownout. He dictates what type of car we can buy, that it has to be electric, but then tells us we can't charge it. America should wake up, because in 33 days, we need you to join with us. They knew their policies would bring it this direction. Remember when President Biden was asked about $5 a gas a few months back? He smiled and said that was a good thing, that you would force people to go electric. But he also has put America in a weaker position. He threatened our security by making us dependent on other nations. And if you care about the environment, American natural gas is 41% cleaner than Russian natural gas. Why? We can be energy independent, but more importantly, this nation could be stronger with more jobs. We could have other nations dependent upon us. China could be dependent upon us. That would help foreign policy and also make the world a safer place.
The kind of leverage that we would have then. Real quickly, is there some kind of an emergency valve that Congress can put in place to keep Biden from tapping the reserves that we can't even replenish right now? Just real quick, we're going to move on.
Yeah, in 33 days, the American people join with us. Go to takethehouse.com. Put a check and balance on this. Don't let America fall down. We can make this next century ours. We are the only party that has a plan for a new direction, the commitment to America.
Let's stay with the politics now. This time the topic is crime, and voters are telling us it is top of mind for them. A new headline from Politico says midterm election voters are saying crime and public safety are a potent mix when it comes to the vote. And because of that, more and more ads are hitting left-wing candidates for their lax on crime stance. Let's watch together, Minority Leader.
Far-left John Fetterman is too far left. He's dangerously liberal on crime.
He's talking about defunding the police. Now, murder is up in Milwaukee 40%, the fourth highest increase in the country. Mandela Barnes, a dangerous Democrat.
Recent Fox News polls show a huge majority are extremely or very concerned about higher crime rates across America. 79%. Congressman.
Well, Harris, you have to understand, why is crime rising? Why is crime at a level it hasn't been in 20 years? Because Democrats defunded the police. They elected woke DAs who don't believe in putting people in jail. And what do we have today now? Where people don't feel safe in their streets. We have drugs, fentanyl, the #1 killer of a young generation. Why? Because they opened up the border. Now they don't put people in jail. Somebody gets arrested, but they're let out before the officer is even off duty. Yesterday I did a roundtable on fentanyl in my own community with the DEA, with Homeland Security, with the FBI, with my sheriff and police. And you know what the underlying problem was? Not that the border was just open and it's coming in from China through Mexico, was they can't find people to work for them. They're down in almost every position. I asked them why. Did they need more funding? They said no. This defunding of the police in every element, they're not getting people who want to apply to the job anymore. They're getting people who leave. This is exactly what the Democrat policy that they promoted, that they moved through. And in a commitment to America, we build on a nation that is safe. We secure our border. We don't defund the officers. We add 200,000 police officers. And then we score every single prosecutor in America so people understand, are they upholding the law or not? That is the fundamental shift you'll get on January 3rd in a new plan with a new direction.
Well, Minority Leader McCarthy, I would only add this to the mix that you just talked about, and that is you want those qualified, you've got to incentivize the best among us to come forward. And the way that you do that is to take down the rhetoric and admit that you were wrong when you took their pay away and got rid of them. I mean, that's got to be part of the plan. Otherwise, without that healing, I don't know if we go forward automatically. Your last quick thought.
No, it's very difficult, but there is hope. You know, in San Francisco, it has less than 7% Republican registration. They recalled their school board and recalled their DA in the last year. So this isn't about politics. This is about Americans feeling safe. And they know the policies that have been promoted by one Democrat rule in Washington. They control everything. Has put us in a place where we don't no longer feel safe. But in 33 days, that can all change. Join with us.
All right, we are glad that you were in focus today. Right after the President of the United States, we were able to hear from you. Thank you, House Minority Leader McCarthy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.